Aloha. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. It's 19 minutes past 10 in the morning on this winning Wednesday, December the 11th, 2024. My name is Anil on the mic, and it's my pleasure to bring you our first interview feature of the day on today on Tracks Momentum. And in this interview, we are going to shine the spotlight on a particular group that is often underappreciated in our society these days, and that's housewives. You know, women back in the days were expected, a couple of centuries ago, were just expected to sit at home, look after their kids, cook, clean, teach, and then just, sit at home. But these days, women are empowered. They run businesses from homes, they are consultants. They do many things at the same time, looking after kids. It's a full-time job by itself. And we need to look after and take care of their well-being. And as is the case, we're here to talk today about an initiative. It's called the Skssr, the Housewives Social Security Scheme, which is helmed by the government, which shows the commitment of the government to look after the well-being of the housewives in our country. And to talk to us about that, we have our special guest in the studio. She's back again. She's a regular here, no stranger to the microphone and this control room. Her name is Gayathri Vadivel. She's the head of Employment Services Division at the Employment Insurance Office, Social Security Organization, Malaysia. Ms. Gayathri, welcome back to Tracks.
Thank you, Anil.
How are you?
Good morning. Good, thank you. And good morning to all the listeners of TRAXXfm as well.
Thank you very much. Okay, so let's start off by you giving us an in-depth explanation on what the SKSSR is and the mechanics of it. How does it work?
Sure. So I think, as you rightfully pointed out earlier, the women are quite underrepresented in many sense. So
Sure.
the Social Security Organization as an institution that's designed to provide financial support, social protection for individuals in various stages of life. And in this cohort, I think the women, as is one group who's very, I would say they're very significant or quite involved in the care economy. And if you look at the care economy that we have, it's becoming more popular. If you hear this term, care economy is becoming very well, talked about.
Right.
And there are two groups in the care economy in which one, there are paid and unpaid activities related to caregiving, domestic work, which plays a critical role in the functioning of societies and economy. So there is a group who are under the paid care economy section, but there are also an unpaid group in which women perform disproportionate share of unpaid domestic caregiving work, which contributes actually to the economic stability to allow others to work. I mean, if they don't be the ones who are at home to provide care and support, how is that going to allow the dependents or the loved ones to actually continue to be, also be part of contributing to the society? So in actual fact, the unpaid group of the care economy section is actually kind of indirectly also contributing to the society. So we saw this gap, and we thought that there's something very important that we need to look into. This group of women who are housewives, and that doesn't mean that I'm not a housewife if I'm also working full time.
Yeah.
I'm also a housewife when I'm at home.
Sure.
And I'm underrepresented when I enter the house. Because I'm covered while I'm at work. Right? But
Right.
at the moment I enter home and I'm doing other activities, that I'm also working in other sense. I mean, talking about women.
Correct.
So on that part of it, we thought there was a gap, and there was a need for us to look into something to cover them, especially to recognize them in their dedication in managing the household, either full time or part time. So the scheme, that has been introduced by Skssr, we launched it on the 1st of December 2022, acknowledges the often overlooked risks associated with household responsibilities and provides protection against domestic accidents, disability, and financial stability for dependents if anything happened to the housewife.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so in effort to tribute to the significant role that the women play in the care economy, and I think this is really the reason we have introduced the Housewives Social Security Scheme, better known as SKSSR.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And how has it been received by the general public, in particular the housewives?
I would say it's really overwhelming. I mean, because they often feel unvalued, and when they work at home, there's no coverage. So and there's no discrimination in this policy. So even if you have a pre-existing illness, you are still covered under the scheme. So that's
Right.
really a good thing. That's one. And I mean, the individuals who are in the household management are often rarely acknowledged.
Okay.
So with SKSSR in place, they feel protected. They feel, they own something. They're also part of the care economy. And that, I think, really gives a different dimension to even how the men or even the women, how we look on ourselves. That, I think there's a common preconception that, women who are housewives just sit at home and they're not actually contributing factors. But when there's a scheme that looks at them from a different perspective, makes us, I'm speaking for myself as a woman, of course, I contribute to the scheme as well. I really feel that there's something in addition, and I see how men actually would really change their perception of how women are often overlooked. So I mean, we have good stories where we have many of our members of companies, members of parliament who have come in to chip in to be part of contributing for the women who we can fund under the scheme. And even sometimes men who've recognized this as an important element of social protection. We've got cases in which I've had a colleague on her wedding day. The hantaran was actually the social security, a scheme for housewives.
Talk about creativity, huh?
So but that really tells me that, or tells us that, this is how different in terms of how men or even the general public is looking at women today, thanks to the care economy. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm sure it would have struck a chord with a lot of our listeners, and especially the women, on the eligibility criteria. So talk to us about the criteria, if someone can be eligible or not for this.
Okay. So it's open to Malaysian women citizens and also permanent residents under the age of 55 years. But for the first time contribution, they should be less than 54 years. This is the first time that they enter the scheme.
Okay.
And it's really affordable. It's really at the moment it's a voluntary scheme.
Okay.
And women only are required to pay 120 ringgit per year, which is about 10 ringgit a month, which is really very nominal. But I will be sharing with you in terms of what are the coverages for this particular scheme. But with 120 ringgit a year, the benefit that you will get, the coverage that you get, is really extensive. So there's something, and I would say that it's really value in terms of what is being contributed for. And interestingly, the contribution doesn't need to be paid by the housewives alone. Like I mentioned earlier, we had cases in which the husbands actually, pay for the wives. And there are companies who actually take up the role in recognizing women and, wanting to pay on behalf of their employees. So we have had cases like that. And also, there are also members of parliament and representatives that actually contribute. So we have actually a budget initiatives that in 2024, in which the government had allocated 50 million to finance SKSSR contributions for more than 400,000 women from the IKASI group. So really, the government also is playing a huge role in advocating the importance of the social protection for housewives in particular. So, and from which about 477,147 housewives are currently actively contributing to the scheme. So it really you can really see the growth in terms of the acknowledgement, the perception, in understanding the importance of this scheme.
Good to know that there's a good buy-in from the general public on this.
Yep.
With 120 ringgit, what does the scheme cover for contributors?
Okay, so there's quite a number. I'll go through one by one.
Sure.
Yeah. So with the 120 ringgit that it's paid for, number one is in terms of medical benefit, where the insured housewives can receive treatment for domestic accidents at any Perkeso panel clinics or government hospitals at no cost. So that's something that is paid for. So as you come in as a contributor, and we have panel clinics that recognize that, and it's covered by SOX. So you don't really have to fork out the money then and there. So your coverage is there. The second one is on permanent disablement benefit, in which a lump sum payment of up to 30,000 ringgit for permanent disablement caused by a domestic injury. So if anything, for example, you've fallen down the staircase, or while you were cooking, you had a severe injury, and there's a permanent disability, so you're paid up to 30,000 ringgit for the coverage for that particular injury. And on the third one, we have a morbid allowance. So that this is more related to illnesses. We pay up to 300 ringgit monthly for injured housewives diagnosed with a disability during the coverage period. But of course, for this particular morbid allowance, we have a system in which there's a medical assessment involved. You have to go to the medical appeal board, and we would pay, and this is payable until the age of 55, or if in the case of a death, whichever comes first. Number 4, in the case the insured person or the insured housewife is unable to manage on her own, then there is a constant attendance allowance to the carer. So we also have someone to help you if you're not able to function, which is where we pay 250 ringgit a monthly for. Of course, it's not sufficient, but this is something that is additional in terms of us defraying whatever cost that's involved in managing the injured housewife, for instance. So this is paid to the carer, 250 ringgit monthly, right? For those who require personal assistance. On top of that, we also have physical rehabilitation and dialysis facilities as well. So as you know, non-communicable communicable disease are on the rise.
NCD,
You know, we have a lot of cases with diabetes and ending up having, renal failures and so on. So this is also something that has been included, in which we provide rehabilitation costs of up to 50,000 ringgit per contribution period, and free provision of assistive devices. For instance, if they've had their legs having to be amputated, prosthetics are provided, orthotics, or even wheelchairs, special mattresses, walking aids if needed. And for dialysis cases, we do pay 200 monthly until age 55. So at least, we get to defray the cost of the dialysis costs again. And of course, in the event if something had happened to the insured housewife, and to help defray the cost of the funeral expenses and on, a funeral benefit provision is provided with a one-off payment of 3,000 ringgit to the dependent of the family. This is something new that's been added on effective 1st June 2024. And also, apart from defraying the cost of the funeral, of course, we want to give support to the survivor of the insured person, in which a pension of 300 ringgit monthly is provided to the dependent. So, example, it could be husband, child, for a housewife who have died before age 55, and this is provided to the survivors as well. So, as you can see, I've mentioned 7 benefits just from 120 ringgit that is paid for a month. So that's quite extensive.
Very extensive.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of things have been taken into consideration before mobilizing
Definitely.
all of these coverages. Very interesting. We'll dive into this even deeper after a quick break. Today on the special interview, Tracks Momentum, I'm speaking to the head of Employment Services Division of the Employment Insurance Office of Social Security Organization Malaysia. Her name is Gayathri Vadivel, and she's today talking to us about the Housewives Social Security Scheme. Don't go anywhere. Our special interview. We'll be right back. Here's Respect by Aretha Franklin. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Tracks Momentum. We are kicking things off on this winning Wednesday morning with our first interview of the day, which is a special interview where we are shining the spotlight on an underappreciated group, which is Housewives. And in particular, we're talking about the Housewives Social Security Scheme. In short, it's called the Skssr. And to talk to us about that, we have Ms. Gayathri Vadivel. She's the Head of Employment Services Division at the Employment Insurance Office of Social Security Organization, Malaysia. Ms. Gayathri, welcome back to the special interview. Just a while ago during the song break, we got a caller who called in and she said that is there a chance that the qualification age could be increased to 60 or 65? Unfortunately, ma'am, thanks for your call. Point taken, and maybe it would be considered in times to come. But right now it's at 55, yeah?
That's right.
Right, okay. And how much has Perkeso disbursed under the Skssr so far?
All right, thanks, Anil. So as of October 31st, 2024, we have paid out up to 3.6 million in benefits covering about 1,894 claims. And this really includes medical costs for domestic accidents, permanent disablement compensation, and allowances, the spectrum of allowances that I mentioned just now. For example, the monthly invalidity or the survivor's pension. So each disbursed claim represents a life for us that has been positively impacted, and it really reflects the value of the scheme, in terms of the safety nets that's provided for housewives and the family. So with continuous education and promotion, we anticipate, even in greater participation in the coming years, and we, of course, we expect to cover a lot more individuals if an uneventful, thing has happened to the family. Yeah.
Right, okay. Now, here's to another question where we pivot a little bit from our topic, housewives to house husbands. There's a broader term to that, homemakers, right?
Yeah.
Men also sometimes assume the roles that women play.
Yes.
So does this cover men as well?
Okay, we do not deny the fact that, male are also homemakers. Let me say that very clearly. But at Perkeso, we are continuously striving to improve our initiatives. We get a lot of this from men as well, wanting to be covered and wanting to be recognized in the scheme. It's just that, of course, we've just started off the scheme. We need to be mature enough, and we are continuously looking at, ways of improving the schemes. And I think, to answer Ms. Chan, you on the call earlier, I think we're also reviewing, for your information, Anil, we are reviewing in terms of the current age limit, and we are planning to raise it to 60 years. So this will really enable more individuals to benefit from the scheme, especially for those who remain active in caregiving roles, so especially in the senior years. So I would say that, Ms. Chan, don't worry, we are getting there. But again, I think I was also sharing with Anil on the call, for for those, not just for this scheme but for any other social protection related issues. And if there's no coverage or you've not been covered under Social Security Organization, please do not fail to reach us, because we have a lot of synergy that we do with a lot of agencies, in which we will engage with those agencies who partner with us to see what are the other kind of benefits that we can assist with, in terms, especially in terms of social protection, employment, and so on. So I would say that you can always reach out to us at our call centers, or even walk into any of our SOXO office, or even go to the website, which is www.perkeso.gov.my.
Right. Okay. And assuming someone who's listening right now and they are interested to contribute, to participate in this scheme, how can they do so, Ms. Gayathri?
Yep. All they need to do is just log into our website, which is suri.perkeso.gov.my. That is SURI, suri.perkeso.gov.my. And of course, we have 54 branches throughout Malaysia, or you can even call us at our call centers at 1300 22 8000. I repeat, 1300 22 8000. So if you have any other questions, queries apart from the scheme, please feel free to reach us at our call centers.
Okay. Ms. Gayathri Vadivel, thank you very much. You shed some light on a very important topic over here. We thank you for making this journey. But before we wrap up on this conversation, is there anything else that you wish to add for the homemakers, housewives?
Yep, for both. Okay, to all women, including homemakers who are listening, we value yourselves, your contributions, and your role as homemakers or family givers is really crucial, and you deserve protection, and we have, for the women in particular, the Skssr. And to men out there, we also have a message for you. So please show your appreciation for all the women in your lives, including you, Anil. So after this, I expect you to contribute for your loved ones as well, by supporting them in joining the Skssr, whether it's for your wife, mom, sister, and the scheme is really a meaningful way to express the gratitude for all the sacrifices that women have done,
Of course. The unsung heroes of our lives, the women. Thank you, Ms. Gayathri. Have a lovely day.
Thank you, Anil. Thank you very much, TRAXXfm listeners.
You're welcome. All right, that's a wrap for our first interview of today on Trax Momentum. We spoke to Ms. Gayathri Vadivel, the Head of Employment Services Division of the Employment Insurance Office of the Social Security Organization, Malaysia. And today she shed some light and shared with us all the nitty-gritties and the insights, details about the Housewives Social Security Scheme, Skssr. And to just echo what she mentioned at the end, if you are listening, you're a housewife and you wish to participate or contribute in this scheme, what you can do is you can head over to their website at suri.perkeso.gov.my, or visit any one of their 54 branches nationwide, or otherwise do it the old school way, pick up the phones and give them a call at 1300 22 8000. And all I can say is this program is a testament to the commitment that the government has to protect the welfare, the social security of the many women who shape my life and your life. Don't go anywhere. Coming up is the news at 11, and then after that, I shall see you back for another interview on today's edition of Trax Momentum. Here's Wicked by Ariana Grande Butera.